Welcome, everyone. Going to get the meeting started, the Marketing Regulatory and Legislative Subcommittee meeting on Friday, April 19th at 12 p.m. And we have quorums, so
Yes,
we can get started. Okay, great. Let's start with roll call.
Here.
Okay, Director Bartlett, now present. Director Barrientos. Director Jorgens.
Here.
Director Wright. Director Patino or Director Sakakihara.
Here.
Thank you. And Chair Roche.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, next we're going to go to public comment. And do I still need to read this? The disclosure about public comment? Okay. Where is it? Okay. Oh, here I see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open, or first let me make this disclosure and then I'll open public comment. This item is reserved for persons wishing to address the MRL subcommittee on any AVA related matters that are not otherwise on this meeting agenda. Public comments on matters listed on the agenda shall be heard at the time the matter is called. As with all public comment, members of the public who wish to address the board are customarily limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The MRL chair may increase or decrease the time allotted to speaker. So I'll open public comments. Do we have any?
We have no members of the public, that's what Henry.
Okay, great. And no one in the room, so I'll close public comment. Thank you. Okay, next, let's move to the approval of the minutes. Yes,
Do you need my vote on this to
for
get
quorum.
quorum or?
That's a good question. Do we need to, well, no, it just needs to be a majority, right? In the,
Yeah, there, you do count towards quorum. The four of you guys are towards quorum, and because you're here sitting on behalf of Director Patino, you will be there for replacement.
But
Okay,
I
and
can
then-
abstain and you'll still have enough.
I think so, because
Yeah,
then if we have
yeah.
three, we can still pass with the majority of the people present.
I
For the
would need
minutes.
to double check with Ender on that, but if it's not approved, we can approve at the next
At the next
MRL meeting.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. And then can I second, or I guess I need to get
Need a
You want to-
second.
second, thank you.
Second.
Okay, great. No one opposed. We'll go ahead and approve the minutes.
All right, Director Barrientos.
Oh, you're gonna go ahead and call a roll call?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Director Barrientos,
here.
Director Bartlett, Director Jorgens.
Here.
Director Wright. Director Patino or Takakihara
Abstain.
and Chair Roche.
Yes.
The minutes are temporarily approved.
Yeah, great, okay. Welcome, Annie. Sorry. Okay, let's move on to our first item, the legislative update.
Give me a second to pull that up.
I can go ahead and just get started with introductions as Raisa pulls up our slides. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, I think I see familiar faces, so hello again. And I just wanted to do a quick introduction for those who I haven't met yet. My name is Feby Bodiarto, and I'm a policy analyst here at AVA and supporting the legislative affairs team under the public policy team. And I'll go ahead and have my colleague here, Alec, also introduce himself.
Hi, Alec Ward, Principal Legislative Manager for AVA, and I'll turn it back to Feby as she's going to kick it off, and then I'll hop in a little bit later.
Yeah, so thank you all for being here. Where the intent of the presentation this afternoon is to give an update. Since I last presented in February, time has passed quickly here, and we have many updates to share with the team, mostly bill-related items. If you can move to the next slide, Raisa. Great. So you have seen this slide before in February. Something to note here is that we are currently tracking a growing list of Assembly and Senate bills. You'll see a variety of bills in the next few slides and our policy recommendations. We anticipate to move towards a support position for all the bills that you'll see marked as potential support, unless, of course, the bill language changes or the board recommends otherwise. What's an important thing to note here is that The bills are currently being amended. They may change, the bill itself can change, language can change, and we are really actively working with senators and the author's office to ensure that many of the proposed bills are thorough and of course align with our policy objectives. And something to note is that we plan to recommend bill positions to the board next month in the May public meeting. Thank you. So you also have seen this slide before as well. Here are our key deadlines for this legislative session. You'll see that we're right in April, so it's a really busy time seeing bills move from one committee to another. And I would like to just point out this May 17th date. So if you could see here, May 17th, fiscal committees must move bills to the floor. So after this May 17th deadline, our bill list, which you'll see shortly, it will be trimmed down pretty tremendously, most likely. Some of the bills may not make it out of appropriations, which means that the bill has died. So we would not pick up any position on that bill. So just to note that May 17th date is kind of around the corner there. Okay, and then, so here we are. You've also seen some of the bills listed here. Of course, Alec and I are happy to answer any questions that you may have on these bills. So the blue kind of header here mentions the type of themes or topics that this bill addresses. So this first one here, AB 817, this would actually expand the Brown Act rules. For instance, any type of subsidiary body, such as AVA's Community Advisory Committee, they would be permitted to call in remotely, and more importantly, they would not need to disclose their location. So what this really translates to is members of our CAC wouldn't need to disclose their home location. There have been privacy concerns, and this could also retain members of our CAC. So I'll go through these affordability bills here pretty quickly. You have seen 1999, the Irwin bill. This was an item on Wednesday's board meeting. So this would permit CPUC to make amendments to AB 205 for the income graduated fixed charges, also known as IGFC, to cap it at $5 for care fare and $10 for non-care fare. Again, this was a discussion during the board meeting, and we currently do not have a position on AB 1999. 2329, as we all know, affordability is high concern. So this would establish a trust fund known as the Climate Equity Trust Fund to ensure that customers can pay their bills and to promote affordable electric rates. Currently, the source of funding is TBD, but there is language that funds from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, so like federal funding, could move into this trust fund to promote affordable electric rates. 2672. So the next two bills I'll present on here, they're talking about these low-income assistance programs. You all know them as CARE or FARA. So 2672 specifically looks at creating greater access for the CARE program for particularly master meter tenants. So those who live in public housing facilities, ensuring that these discounts, so for CARE customers, they receive upwards to 30% discount, that these discounts can go directly to the residents. And then 1130 is a Bradford bill. This would expand the FARA program. Currently, the FARA program, the minimum eligibility requirement is that the household must have 3 or more people. This prevents a lot of customers getting onto the FARA program, particularly those who are seniors living by themselves. And so this would actually increase eligibility by allowing customers who live in a household of 1 or 2 to participate in FARA. And then 1142 is also one that we're looking to potentially support. This adds more protections for customers, particularly those who are at risk of disconnections. This essentially will allow customers to get onto payment plans to ensure that they are not being disconnected. Great, and then I'll go through a few more here. So with electric vehicle type issues, we have 2 that we're closely tracking. We see AB 2427. This orders the Governor's Office Business and Economic Development Office to create checklists and different types of models promoting best practices for local governments to allow curbside charging stations. There is a request for there to be more information, more data to increase the deployment of charging stations, particularly having right-of-way curbside stations. And then SB 233, I'm sure we have talked about this before as well. This is Skinner's bill related to bidirectional capabilities. This looks at asking the various agencies to convene a working group to deploy electric vehicles that have bidirectional capabilities. So looking at ways that our cars can act as a battery or storage, a resource. And then I'll quickly go through these 3 bills and then pass it off to Alec. These are our building decarbonization issues. 1054 is a Rubio bill. We are looking to support this one. It requires the CEC to award grants to transition low-income households from gas to all-electric appliances. We are currently working with Rubio staff to ensure that CCAs are eligible to receive some of this grant funding. We think it's really important for us to be explicitly called out in this bill to ensure we can also win some of these awards. And then SB 1095, also one we have seen before. This is looking at ways we can streamline or increase access for mobile home and manufactured home residents to transition from gas to all electric. Chair Roche, you called this one out last time, so we are looking closely at this one. We are actually meeting with Becker's office next week to talk about ways that we can support and further align with this bill. Something we are raising as something to talk about, to discuss, is ways that we can further protect tenants, because many of these mobile homes are also master metered homes. So this is one we are discussing with the author's office.
Great, thank you. Thanks for following up on that.
Yeah. And then 1221, this looks quite familiar. SB 527 last year, which was also a min bill, was focused on pursuing and advocating for community-wide electrification efforts. So 1221 is looking to require the IOUs, to file a gas map to show which gas infrastructure can be decommissioned and then replaced for all electric efforts on a neighborhood level. So that's one that is very much in alignment with SB 527 last year, which was a bill that the board supported. And so we're hoping to show our support for that one as well. Alec, did I miss anything before I pass it over to you?
Nope, that's great. I can take it from here. Thanks, Febby.
Sounds good.
Well, and never mind, go ahead, Alec. I'll wait. I'll keep my questions to the end.
Oh, sure. Yep. Yeah, we'll have plenty of time for all the bill questions. We just have one more slide after this one too. Yeah, just on clean energy bonds, these are bills from last year, AB 1567 and SB 867. So they're placeholders, but there's still plenty of talk of potential clean energy bond this year. The Senate and Assembly are creating working groups on this that are meeting right now. But expectations certainly have been tempered, especially with Prop 1, with its difficulty in passing this year. So we certainly won't be seeing $2 billion. I've been hearing more 1 billion. And maybe this might not be the year for it, but if something does go through, we're going to be engaging on how we can support it and work with it. And that'd be a statewide bonding effort. The next slide, please. So these are your utility-based bills. We have AB 2054. This is a Bauer-Cahan bill. This would prohibit any commissioners at the CEC or PUC from being employed by an entity that they regulate. So that'd be the IOUs, that'd be the CCAs, and they wouldn't be able to be employed by us for 3 years after their commissioner role. This bill used to have 10 years. They walked it back to 3. But this is really largely targeted at the IOUs, although the CCAs are just included as a grab all. But there's also actually a new provision that was just added that would make it more difficult for the IOUs to charge ratepayers for any overspending if they go over what they've been allocated from the PUC. So that's a new addition here.
What IOU is?
That's PG&E, so investor-owned utility.
Investor. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and please do shout out if we have any acronyms that aren't familiar in here. We try to usually avoid that.
Okay, thank you.
And then SB 938. This is a min bill. This would prohibit the utilities, the IOUs, from charging ratepayers for political lobbying. We did see that this week, just yesterday, it did not manage to pass through the policy committee, so it won't be moving forward this year. There's some strong pushback by labor, I believe. For ACR 153, this is a Petrie-Norris bill. This would designate March 14th as California Utility Workers Appreciation Day. We thought this would be a quite easy one to support, and that's the chair of the Energy Committee. But it actually just went through this week and was chaptered and signed by the governor. So we won't be needing to take a position on it this year. For transmission bills, this was a large topic that we really wanted to elevate. We noticed it especially last year. We've had a number of our utility scale or very large renewable energy projects that have been delayed by PG&E from being able to connect to the grid. So they're just kind of sitting there, which is obviously extremely problematic, especially as energy prices are rising and we don't necessarily have enough clean energy for the state of California at the large scale. So we've saw a lot of bills this year come out on this issue. So we see that as a big success that we were able to really elevate and bring massive attention to this. So some bills that we think we can support this year are AB 2779. This is Petrie-Norris. This would direct CAISO to issue a report on all the new grid enhancing technologies that we're using in our transmission plans. We think this is something that we're already headed towards and already really doing. So this seems like a pretty easy support position. SB 1165, this is a PIA bill. This would also speed up transmission projects by deeming them environmental leadership development projects. And then lastly here are renewables, a renewable section. And these bills we're really working with authors' offices on. We have AB 2368. This would include a couple different provisions. It's a very live bill right now. It's actively being worked on and amended. But it would try to coordinate different planning processes at the PUC, 2 of them being the integrated resource planning and the resource adequacy planning. So how do we determine what resources we need to be a stable and clean grid within the next 10 to 20 years? And we're working with the author's office, especially to make sure that we're not, as a load serving entity, that the CCAs aren't given even more standards that they have to hit around resource adequacy in the midterm. We're already seeing very tight markets, and it's really hard to hit what we've been giving with RA, with resource adequacy. So new standards could be problematic. So we're trying to make sure that it doesn't get steered in that direction. And then the last 2 bills here are 2 Stern bills, SB 1305 and SB 1508. 1305 would require the PUC to order utility procurement targets for virtual power plants. And 1508 would require the PUC to order IOU and CCA procurement, so all load serving entities targets for energy storage systems. These are technologies that we support, that we're doing. So we really want to work with these offices to incent this type of behavior and work with us to yeah, really get more people engaged. What we don't want to head towards, though, is just throwing out numbers of new mandates for new technologies, a decade or so from now. We're unsure what the markets will look like at that point. And whereas also, as I mentioned, the same dynamics are at play. It's a tight market right now. It's a very expensive one. So we want to, really be the ones that are responsible for setting what technologies we're pursuing. So yeah, actively working with that office. I think that might be the end. So yep, we can pause and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions on these bills or anything else legislation related.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you for all that information. It's a lot to track. All right. So do we have any, do we need to do public comment individually for these items?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anyone online?
I see no hand raised.
No hand raised. Okay. And there's no one in the room. So I will open and close public comments. This is just informational, right? We're not making a decision. Okay. Do we have any questions? Any questions?
I just have a general question on you. So
Yeah.
it sounds like this is an information item, and then staff will recommend either no position or support on each of these. I didn't see any recommend opposed, so those are the two. And then that recommendation goes to the full board in May. Full board.
That's correct.
Recommendation, and then that's the ABA position.
Correct. Yeah, after the board votes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's support opposed positions, and then we can also adopt the opposed unless amended position.
And support if amended. That's a position
Support
we've
and
done before
amended,
too.
yes.
Right. Thanks. Either Dr. Jorgens or Dr. Brand. Any questions?
No, yeah. What does bidirectional mean?
Oh, good question.
What does bidirectional mean?
Febby, do you want to handle that, or I can step
Yeah.
in? Yeah.
Yeah, I could support that one. So Skinner's office is interested in having the vehicle act almost like a battery system or like a storage system. So during a time of outage or used as kind of like a resilience tool, the car can act as like a battery resource.
So the customer would be able to use the charge in their household,
Generate.
or you could export to the grid with the electric vehicle.
Interesting. Thanks for asking that. I was actually wondering that before and I forgot.
Good question.
Any other questions from doctors? I can't see if Dr. Jorgens has, you can see with this. Okay. I guess I just had a couple questions. Oh, sorry, Dr. Jorgens, did you have a question?
Sorry, I was going to clarify, no questions. I do appreciate the presentation, so thank you very much.
Thanks. I was just wondering about the Brown Act one, AB 817. Do they still, so they can call remotely? I mean, I know these bills come up every year now, trying to find a way to like make it easier for people since the time of Zoom. Would that one still require a quorum in the room?
It does not require a physical quorum in the room, no.
Oh, okay, so they,
Yes.
if it passed, they could meet completely. Oh, okay. I'm sure.
Correct.
I'm sure a lot of subsidiary bodies would like that, including probably some of our commissions in the city, right? I think it would like all that, yeah. Okay, great, thank you. And then let's see. On the sorry, just give me 1 second. I was looking at my notes. I actually have questions, so they were just notes.
And while you're looking at the notes, I just wanted to put an asterisk on the Brown Act bill, where if the subcommittee or subsidiary body has voting capabilities, it's undetermined if they would, and probably unlikely if this would apply to them. But for strictly advisory committees like the CAC, then it would apply to them.
Okay. Thanks for that. So I can see like a planning commission it wouldn't apply to them, but it might apply to like a library commission in a city since it's an advisory body.
Yes,
As
then
well.
that sounds right.
Okay. Which is actually what's in my head, so thank you. Thank you, our library commission. Okay, and then on the AB 2427, the electric vehicle one. So that would be to have, so like where like a meter is for a car, like there would be like charging stations there. Is that the idea?
So
Curbside
this
charging
one,
stations?
yeah, this one is not really implementing any type of infrastructure. It's really requesting the governor's office to put together checklists. It's like any type of zoning ordinance putting that together, or a model checklists or permitting checklists, or centralizing best practice information so that local governments can be ready to deploy charging infrastructure. So it's really kind of collecting that data and that information to encourage deployment of EV
I see.
curbside.
So in the future, you could have those curbside stations.
Yes, I think it's kind of like teeing local governments to act on these issues.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have. Any other questions? Thank you so much. for all
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you all.
What's the timeline? The next update we'll get is May 3rd, is that right?
May board
Oh, no,
meeting.
That's, I see, that's just.
I think the 17th.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you. All
Take care.
Thank you all. Take care.
right, we'll go to our next item, the brand campaign update.
Yeah. Well, happy to be back, and I think last time I was with you, I was talking about this campaign was gonna go into market like any minute, and so we are in market finally, so I'm glad to just give you a bit of an update, mostly kind of proof of placement and showing you what's in market. We don't have a ton of data yet, but a little bit, and if I had remembered that we printed these slides out, I wouldn't have included so many examples in the deck, because it's a little bit redundant, and I'm afraid I killed a few trees with that, so apologies. You can go to the next slide. And we'll just talk kind of a reminder of the goals and the schedule, kind of like overview of the campaign itself. And we have a bunch of sample placements showing you what's out in market now. And then some preliminary data that we're seeing back from it. So you can go to the next slide. And the next slide. So just a reminder, we talked about before, the goals of this campaign, high level awareness, right? We are, when we were EBCE, we had low awareness of EBCE, and then obviously kind of changing our name and rebranding ourselves, changing our look and feel. That wasn't going to do anything in and of itself to raise that awareness. It was gonna maybe we wanted to combat with this campaign losing those people who did know EBCE, so bring them along to AVA and then start reaching out and bringing more people in who maybe didn't know EBCE to understand who AVA was and the role we play in their lives. So just, very high level awareness. We're not trying to get people to take specific actions necessarily with this campaign, but more just to kind of be aware of who we are and start to be receptive of other messages that we might bring to them. So to do that, we're taking a kind of pretty broad, a broad layered approach. So lots of different campaign tactics going on out there, out of home, online. We'll talk about all those, radio, and fairly high frequency with those things that we can control to try to, just penetrate people's busy brains, right? We want to be scalable and consistent and impactful across the territory. You'll see how we were able to kind of have a unified look and feel, but also tailor some messages depending on, those things that we can target in each city that are specific. And we also want to collect data. We want to, just didn't want to solely do billboards, for instance, from which we can't really draw too many insights. We wanted to have executions that allow us to kind of learn and better kind of tailor our approach in the future. So those are our objectives. Thank you. This is just a high level overview of kind of all the tactics that we're using or going to be using, and kind of the frequency with and timing with which they're going to be in market. Now, all of the items in bold are in market now, the ones that are grayed out. So content syndication, sponsored content. This is a theme here. Our content marketing efforts are not yet in market, but we're wanting to make sure that we get those right before we put them in market. They will be going in market soon. And streaming radio, I think, is just starting now. But the rest of them have been running now for 6-8 weeks. And so, as I say, we have some initial information. You can go to the next slide. So we'll look at some placements, and this is like I said, it's going to be a sea of orange and largely kind of repetitive, but you'll get the idea. So the first batch is out of home. I hope you guys have seen some of these.
I saw the one on Foothill.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Like, there are a lot of them and they're out there between billboards and digital billboards and BART, so I hope you've seen at least one. You can go to the next slide, Grace, and we can just tick through these. So this is Oakland, not too far from here. We talked before about the different messages. Messages that are kind of generic for our entire service territory, messages that are targeted towards those cities that are on Renewable 100, and messages that are targeted towards those cities that are on Bright Choice. So this one is here in Oakland, says you're saving money every month with Ava Community Energy, right? So they're a Bright Choice community. Oakland is a Bright Choice. We are here in Oakland, a Bright Choice community. So you can go to the next slide. Piedmont, same thing, blue skies in your green future. That's a generic kind of, that's the message that we had targeted for,
They are a default R100
Yeah,
for
yeah.
residential, but commercial,
Right.
which there isn't that much,
yeah,
is still default to Bright
yeah,
Choice.
yeah.
So they're a mixed bag.
They're a mixed bag, exactly. Next slide. Berkeley, they're R100, so they're getting the full-on R100 message. You're getting 100% wind and solar from Ava Community Energy. So that's the kind of three variations of the out-of-home that we've got going right now. So you can go to the next slide, just click through Emeryville, next slide. This one is Oakland, but it faces the freeway. It's interesting. I think this one, you can see it from 80 because I see it when I come in. So it's kind of a more generic message because it's touching people just kind of commuting through the area. Go to the next slide. West Oakland. Next slide. Hayward.
No, that's nice.
Good. All right.
Every
Excellent.
day on the way to school, my
Good.
kid's school.
Good. All right.
I hope your son's wearing the hat. Beanie.
You know
right?
what?
You said
My
beanie.
husband took it.
Okay, okay.
Tracy, so this one is right on its kind of like as you're leaving Tracy, right, heading towards Stockton, and
You can see
yeah,
it from the 5.
yeah, you can see it from the 5. Can go to the next slide.
I just want to say I was on my way to Twain Hart with my family, and my 8-year-old daughter shouted out from the back seat, "Ava, Ava!" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Look, look!" And she saw the one in Tracy.
Yes, it felt like a little win.
And the
It
shine
did.
on thing is fine. I know we had a little comment
We
about it last
did.
time, but it totally, all I did when I see it was like, oh, look, there's Ava. Like the message didn't,
Yeah, and I think that's what out of home, it's not meant to make you think super deeply, right? It's
Exactly,
like
yeah.
meant to kind of capture
was
your
cute. Like,
attention.
I-
and
it
stuff.
is cute,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, good. I'm glad that it's,
Mhm.
yeah, so this San Leandro, and so these, BART, so same set of messages, but now in BART stations. And you can just click through those, Lisa, thanks. So here we are, there's some of the stations, we have more kind of actual physical placements than others. So there's 3 different boards up in the 19th Street station for Oakland. You can go to the next slide. Bayfair, both the platform and the lobby. You can go to the next slide. Downtown Berkeley, platform and lobby. Next slide. Dublin, Pleasanton. We got several there in that station. Next slide. Fremont. Fruitvale, sorry, Hayward. MacArthur, that's Oakland again, right? Oakland 12th Street and Coliseum. Rockridge.
Big cute this morning. I didn't actually really, because that one's right near my
Oh,
house.
right, okay. Yeah, I've not seen that one in person. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
It's there, it's real. This is not.
That's awesome. Okay,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah, so
there.
it
It's
is a
real.
physical outdoor
It is.
installation. Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool. Union City, West Dublin. Great. So that's the universe of out of home that's in market right now.
I thought I saw, did I see it flashing on the
Yes.
Jumbotron at the Coliseum? Oh,
You
okay.
did.
Elisa and I were coming to the meeting on Wednesday and I was like, Elisa, and then it flipped and
Yeah,
because it
you
was in the
did.
corner of my eye.
And I didn't get any proof of placement shots of that in time to put it in
Okay,
these
yeah.
slides when they were posted last week. I do have that now, and a drone shot. It's
Oh, cool.
cool.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I just got
That's-
that. Yeah, but it wasn't. I didn't have any time to put it
Yeah.
in this deck. But yes, you did see that. You weren't.
Okay,
Your
I
eyes
was
weren't
crazy.
fooling you. Yeah.
It There was
Um,
a giant orange.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're also advertising on Nextdoor and, I mean, you know, Nextdoor is an interesting platform, right? Like, got a love-hate relationship with it. A nice thing about it is that, you know, we can be very targeted with it. And, you know, we know that there are a lot, like, there are frequently discussions about Ava on Nextdoor. You know, you get highly engaged residents who are, you know, they're paying attention to things and like, you know, they'll get their bills or they'll whatever, and they'll talk about Ava. So, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. I was
Yeah,
curious.
you know, they, you know, so we thought it was an important place to be, to, you know, to just, we know people are talking about us there. Sometimes it's out of ignorance because they don't know who we are, and sometimes it's with a great deal of information, but, you know, there is something to be said for kind of like going where the conversations are being.
Do you ever engage in those conversations?
We do,
Okay.
yeah, it's tough, right, because you can't, if you're not a resident,
Yeah.
you can't see the conversations,
yeah.
but, go ahead, yeah.
I was just, we have an agency account, so
Mhm.
if they comment, I think, on our agency
Oh, then you
account,
can,
Yeah.
yeah.
then we can engage.
Yeah.
But if they're just in their local neighborhood,
Mhm.
we don't have eyes to that.
Yeah, okay.
Unless there's like a staff member who's, you know, but we don't
Okay.
ask every single staff member to like weigh
To mine
in.
in there next.
So, I mean, by design, next door is very exclusive,
Yeah.
right, to that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when we do become aware of conversations that are going on Nextdoor from a staff member or something, like we do arm them to, you know, to
Yeah,
kind of
if they're
respond and
willing,
engage and, you know, and like on our team, you know, Dan, who lives in Albany, there is no misinformation on Albany's
That's right.
Nextdoor because Dan is in there like, but yeah, it is hard. You can't, if you don't, are not a resident there, you can't engage in those conversations. So, okay, so we are on Nextdoor. This is just like the creative is tuned, you know, to like the community. So in the same way that Out of Home in Oakland is running a bright choice message, and Out of Home in Piedmont is running an an R100 message, like that matches up here as well. So we are there. We don't have a ton of data on that yet because those kind of didn't go up all that long ago, but we are on Nextdoor. You can go to the next slide. So another, you can go to the next one. Another place we're going, we have both English language sort of direct digital placements like you're seeing here. So on, you know, banner ads online on Bay Area News Group platforms that we can control. We've also been running some programmatic Spanish language advertising, and we're seeing that like that's turning out to not be good placement for us just because of some of the places that it's showing up. It's not places we, you know, it's like on a wrestling platform and weird like things like that. So we're actively looking, just not places we kind of want to be as a brand and, you know, think it's appropriate. And we're getting very low engagement with those Spanish language ads. So we are in the process of kind of looking at other Spanish language outlets that we can utilize to make sure we're talking to those markets, because you know, the early feedback we're getting from those is that it's not a great place to be. But the Bay Area News Group ads, you know, it's something we've done for a while, and you know, on their kind of planned digital platform, it's pretty successful. So you can go to the next slide. Just, you know, different ways it shows up. It's an animated ad, right? So as you're looking at it, this is like kind of the process that scrolls through the messages you'll get. Oh, in the band. I didn't even do the headline in the paper. What was
He's
leaving.
Oh. Okay, that's a little tone deaf, sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up again. Apologies. Too soon. Too soon, too soon. Ugh, okay, so.
Ballers.
Yeah, with our logo on their jersey. So we're also using the Meta platform and other social advertising. So you can go to the next slide, what that looks like. So again, this is, we're not gonna drill down on all of these, but you know, very targeted because we can, you know, geo-target people through those platforms. Same set of messages that are targeted to, to the geographies by their service plan. And you can see your Cherryland, we're able to get very targeted with, even some of the unincorporated areas that we have here. So you can just click through those, right? Dublin, Hayward, Livermore, Fremont, Oakland, Newark, Pleasanton, everybody, San Lorenzo. Yeah, so, yeah, that's nice to be able to be very, very targeted on that platform. Yeah, and then, if you are looking at, kind of your tile, your feed, this is how it looks on our, if you come to I don't know why that says powered by EBCE. This is still, okay, okay. All right, I didn't realize that was.
Oh, on what, is that,
yeah.
Facebook or?
It's Facebook, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
So with the canceled,
pardon?
the canceled.
Executive.
Oh, it was, yeah, that meeting was canceled.
Oh, so this was.
Yeah, this was a
That was
social
on
post that we
I
put
see.
out, yeah, like, telling folks that we had canceled this. So that just gives you a nice, like, kind of view about how our overall brand system is playing together now, along with the ads. And the fact that we still haven't managed to convince Facebook that we're not ABCE any longer.
So they want you to like create a new account or something?
No, it's a total mess.
But we don't wanna lose people. so-
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next slide. We also have pay-per-click advertising going on, so that, if you kind of go into search, you search for something on Google and ads appear along the side of it. This is what we're talking about here, so we are using kind of a really interesting tool, an AI supported tool to analyze the conversations and the topics that are garnering information or garnering eyeballs both on our website and on like the larger internet around topics that we care about. And it helps us learn like how people are thinking and talking about these things, so we can tune our language to be more in line with the way people are talking about these things. Because we know that we're kind of we're living in this stuff, and so we might talk about things in one way, but your average consumer who's looking for information maybe has a different set of words that they use to describe what they're looking for, and it can be hard when you're kind of like in the bubble to know what that is. So this tool helps us look at those conversations and become more realistic about like even though like energy nerds think you should talk about it like this, real people are looking for things like this. And so if you want to get them to the good information, I called it.
Energy nerds are real people too.
It's
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Our target audience who are not energy nerds yet, so we want them to come to the information we have, because we have good information for folks. We just might not be sensitive enough, like as to what they need to hear to know to come to us. And so this tool helps us do that. And we're kind of continuing to refine the headlines on these ads to be more and more hopefully relevant to what people are actually searching for. So it becomes easier for them to come to us. So that's kind of like what's going on with these pay-per-click ads. So you might, if you see them, like you probably won't see exactly those words now, because those are like, 3 weeks old or something, and the headlines will have evolved over time. So that you can go to the next slide. We just have a few more things, as I said, that are like coming soon. The syndicated radio that has started, I think, since I created these slides, and the content syndication, which is basically like we create longer form content, and we place that and in kind of like ad-like objects to both drive people, to our content. They can learn things from it if they want. It's, more information than just an ad, but mostly like the value of doing an activity like content syndication is to train Google that we are an authority on these topics. And it means that when people are searching for things, we rank higher, we have more kind of search credibility with Google and things like that. So it's not my favorite thing really, because it's kind of like this weird exercise you have to go to like play the Google game, but and it's not in and of itself providing like real value to consumers, but it's if you want Google to work for you, it's something you've got to do. So that's, but we're making sure that the content we put out there is something that we're like happy with and want to stand behind, and not just something designed to train search engines. Because if you just put stuff out that's designed to train search engines, it's like crazy. It's like AI word salad stuff. So we don't want to do that. So we're trying to balance the
But it gets placed on Bay Area News Group sites.
Yeah, that there's two, there's both Bay Area News Group and a more generic content syndication platform that we would use. But yeah, so it's, you know, it's placing this information out there so you can become a referral site like for Google and everything. Yeah.
Got it.
So let's see, that's what's going on. As I said, we don't have too many too much data to share yet, but we have a little bit of directional data, so we'll just walk you through that now. So a lovely chart, I know. The key takeaway here is the top one is traffic to our website and where it came from for the month prior to the campaign starting. And the bottom one is traffic to the website for the month like after the campaign started. And the key takeaway there is like it's over 1,000 additional people coming to our website in that time period, which is a big jump. We don't see jumps like that. You know what I mean? So we feel fairly confident that they're, you know, being directed by this campaign. Some of it we know for sure, paid search, for instance, but when you see organic search, that's the really meaningful thing, because that says that like we're starting to be part of people's thought process and they're typing AVA community energy into a search bar. So, so it's, you know, it's 1,000 people. It's a small number, but it's a beginning. So that's, as I say, we're just, we're on our way. Next chart is just a different view of that. You can see like over time, how that spike happened over that time period from the campaign launch until last week. And then the next page, this is just to say that, so the number 5, which is actually number 4 of the individual pages, that's the campaign landing page. So if you look at the URL on the web, on all the out of home and everything like that, if you were to kind of like use the QR code or something to come to our campaign, this is where you'd land. And so that this is sort of the 4th most visited page on our website in a fairly short period of time is a good indication, right? So we're getting some good traction. I would also say, I don't have slides about this yet, but I mean, anecdotally, we are seeing an uptick in our customer satisfaction rankings since the campaign started. So if you visited our website, you've seen there's a little widget at the bottom or at the top, I think at the top left, it pops up and it asks you to, you know, like, how satisfied are you with AVA community energy? It's just a few questions, like a typical kind of customer satisfaction thing. We saw those numbers kind of, we had that widget going before we swapped over to AVA. So we have some kind of control data from what it looked like as EBCE. Then we moved over to AVA and the numbers dipped some, but not a huge amount. It was frankly less of a loss than I thought it would have been. But they still went down and they kind of sat down, and then PG&E changed their rates and it went into the garbage. Like our numbers were looking really bad because people were coming to our website because they read their bill and they were angry, and wasn't much we could do about that. But I am really heartened to see that now, especially over the last 3 weeks, the numbers are going up, up, up. And that's telling me that we have a lot more people coming to our website, and they're coming for a reason other than I'm mad about my bill. Yeah. And because they're coming for a reason other than I'm mad about my bill, they don't have a reason to go like extremely dissatisfied. And so they're saying neutral or satisfied, or, you know, so it's an early indicator to me that the campaign is doing what we want. Just like be aware that we exist and that we're a positive force in the community. So we're digging into that more and trying to kind of find a way to illustrate it. But that's a very hopeful metric that we're seeing too. I think sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, is that top rank just the homepage if someone searched for AVA community energy and click that, you know, top
Yes.
link on the unpaid link on Google, that would be directly the homepage.
Yes, yes. Great. So this is visits to our website, right? So, okay.
But it's not inclusive of everything, right? It's like the home last page.
Well, so number 2 is like, so it's basically just like showing where people are spending time on our website. So.
But is number 1 like
number one is aggregate all the
Oh,
visits.
it is aggregate.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the visits to our website.
I
right.
see. Okay.
And then number two is, coming to, looking at the rate increase, right?
I see.
Yeah.
I thought one was like just the land, like if you just.
If
do,
you
like-
land on the homepage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're saying it's
I think
that
that's
plus
correct.
everything else?
No, because the total is 34,000.
Sorry,
That
you're-
page is only
sorry.
16,000.
Oh, you're the 16, number one, I
Oh, yeah.
apologize, you're
So
correct.
this, yeah.
You are
okay, got
correct,
it.
I
Okay.
apologize, I didn't understand fully what you were saying. Yes, you are correct, so I land on the homepage.
Right.
And then
okay.
from there, people are going to read the header story right now that's about rate increases, or they're going to job, so you got it, yeah. I think that's all I have, so.
Thank you.
I think yeah, so that's an update, as I say, we'll be back again with probably fewer redundant slides and more results.
Well, it was kind of fun to go through them.
But I appreciate your questions and, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a couple dumb
Sure.
questions.
Okay.
Not at all.
So-
Do we have any, let me just see if
Oh,
there's any
yeah,
public.
There are no members of the public with their hand raised.
Okay, so open and close public comments and please.
The first one was, I understand why we made the name change since now we're more than just East Bay. Is Ava actually, is that like Alameda the Valley, or is that just, like, what is Ava?
AVA is not an acronym. It is, it is meant to kind of obviously be a reference to, for serving Alameda to the valley and beyond potentially, right? But it's not meant to be an acronym, so not
And
literally.
It's not from Wally.
And it's not
Okay,
from
got it.
Wally, no. No, although we don't mind that. We don't mind that association or anything, but no, not directly from Wally.
And the other question I had was just, as a agency, do we get any kind of government or nonprofit rates for any of these, or do they all just treat us the same as, like, does
Oh.
BART do anything for us, or?
No,
No, it's
I mean,
obviously-
no, we don't, we have, with our partners who are like our, kind of the people who are placing ads for us, we have like their not for profit rate,
Oh, so some do have.
Yeah, like, but these are like, vendor service providers to us, not the actual media outlets.
Hmm.
So I know we did look into getting like a not-for-profit grant from Google, but like frankly, the effort to do it was so high that we, yeah, like,
Staff time is too much.
yeah, but we haven't pursued, as far as I know, we haven't pursued with BART not-for-profit rates. We did get 4 free stations from them through our negotiations. So our original contract was, I believe, for 8 stations, and we wound up with 12 through negotiating with them, and so we are getting concessions, but I don't know that we have like a special not-for-profit relationship with them.
Just 2 examples of things we've done in the past, and this was 6 years ago now, but with Hayward, there was at the time some sort of concession for the large digital billboard. The city of Hayward had rights to like 30 seconds a week or something on the billboard. So we did run an ad on that billboard through the city back in 2018. And then the other one was in Albany. They have the Big Belly garbage
cans,
can, which are solar. And so they asked if, for our support in putting some print out of home advertising on the Big Belly trash cans. And so if you have sort of city real estate, that
Yeah.
can be utilized for advertising, we're happy to work with you. So put up that messaging.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions? Short guns? No, you're good. I just had a couple, on the Google search, so with the ads, like if somebody types in solar panels, solar energy, would our ad come up? I mean, how linked is it to the search question, to the ad coming up?
Well, again, that goes back to like what I was talking about
Yeah.
building credibility, you know what I mean?
Like you said, and
And-
how people search for things.
Yeah. So we're, I don't know 100% if, I don't think if somebody puts solar panels
Yeah.
in, the website, that you're gonna get an ABA ad necessarily. Well,
What about
certainly,
like the benefits of solar energy? Like, could it be?
well, that's, I mean, that's, like, that's a great, question in terms of how well do we rank with, with each of these tools.
Does it come up?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're like, we are working
We are
on,
working.
we were actively working on
Yeah.
kind of like improving that and, you know, and opening. I don't have like good data in terms of like how these terms rank, but that's
Good
exactly,
to know, yeah.
that's exactly what we're looking to do,
Maybe
yeah.
that content placement, then
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna go with.
Yeah, so that's.
Okay, cool, yeah, no, thanks, I know, I mean, I actually don't understand that whole algorithm
Well,
world.
that's
at
by
all.
design, they
Yeah.
don't want you to.
Yeah.
The minute people start understanding it, they change it, right? Because like, yeah, then you gotta keep paying them, so.
Well, I'm glad you guys are figuring this out. Someone's working on it. And then the other question was, so you're not doing print ads like East Bay Times, that's just digital?
That's digital.
Okay. And then, I was wondering about, I don't know what you think about the Tri-City Voice. I find, because there's no local papers anymore, the Tri-City Voice, I feel like is becoming a little bit more important locally. Do you think that? No, you don't. think that?
It's like, whenever we have a requirement to put something in a print newspaper, that's what we use it for.
It's the
I don't
one,
know.
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Anyway,
It's
I mean,
not-
it's a
it's not
print
that
ad, so if we're not
expensive,
interested,
yeah.
it's, if we're not interested, I don't know, I just find that like,
Right.
everyone waiting at a coffee shop is reading it, like everybody, like.
It would
reading
be good for coverage of, I guess, Hayward as well, and then
Yeah.
Fremont, Newark, Union City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, just if we were to do any print.
Print.
Yeah, I think it's only print, right? I mean, it's, yeah.
I think they might like PDF it and put it on their splash page or website, but it's
Okay.
meant to be print, yeah.
It's a local paper. It's just that I find myself more, they print all of the schedules for all the different city council meetings coming up and anything important that came out of them, and
The people who read it would be the people who would care, right? Like,
yeah.
so you would, they might spread the word after they see it.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll look, yeah, we'll definitely look, we don't have any, like, no bias against print, it's,
Yeah.
it's just kind of typically more expensive, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like but like, we have, I'd say, we're not you said it's Newark, Hayward.
Well, Tri-City is Fremont, Newark, and Union City.
Okay.
But it's in
then
Hayward too,
Yeah.
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 And they
Okay,
do cover Hayward too with the,
Yeah.
like, the city
Yeah.
council, so,
Yeah.
I mean, just a thought, I mean,
yeah, no. we'll
I don't
look
even
at
know
it.
if the reach
Yeah.
is worth it, but,
I mean, we have done newspaper print ads in the past. I think
100%, yeah.
largely it was around initial enrollment and then like Hayward's opt-up for Renewable 100. I think we did some stuff there. But for this campaign, as of yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And it's also a big like event announcer, right? Like it announces all the different fairs and, I don't know what's going on around. So anyway, just a thought. All right, that was it. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Thank you. No, it's great to see it out there.
well,
Right,
thanks.
that's fun. After talking about it last time,
We're
yeah.
happy to see it out there too.
Yeah, no, it's been fun, Trevor. And it's so fun. I mean, it's a really bright thing to look at, I mean, the orange is really pleasing and, the messages are cute. Yeah.
Great.
Have you seen them yet around where you?
It looks like the only Union
Oh,
City
yeah,
one
that's
was at the
only in
BART
BART,
station,
yeah,
so I need to
there's
go
no
check it
billboard
out.
in Union City.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't find a good one there.
There's
but
not a ton of
Yeah, we don't have a lot of
billboard real
good
estate.
real
Yeah, that's
estate,
true.
yeah.
Maybe one day we can get the Union Landing pylons. We're trying to figure those out.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
kind of broken right now, but eventually
Hmm.
if we get the rotating ads,
Hmm.
it's down the road though. It's very expensive to replace those pylons apparently, so.
It seems huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that at Union Landing?
Yeah, those
Okay,
are
yeah.
our only ones.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thanks.
So next, you'll just continue with the brain.
We're gonna continue along and I'll, we'll come back in June and we'll have more data by that point and I'll kind of give you some more data.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on, the next item is the committee member, wait, I skip one right now. Committee member and staff announcements, including requests to place items on future agendas. Anyone?
Yes, sorry. Quick clarification on item 3, approval of minutes. The minutes are approved. I checked my notes and the abstain does not count towards yes or no.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Any agenda item issues? No. Yeah, I don't, no.
No,
Anything?
it's just Dan and Kelly from our team, our staff. So.
Well, then, great, then I think that's it, right? So we'll have the meeting adjourned.
you.
Thank you.